So welcome to one of the longer videos I'm going to be making. There's going to be a part 3 of this, and then it'll be combined into a whole video that might be 20 minutes long. I don't really know how long it will be yet. It's just going to be kind of long. So this video is basically focused on the new guns for Dayz I kind of want. And some of these might not fit in perfectly, but some of these do make some sense for why they should be added, and I'll put some reasons out there. Now, this is mostly a video about just commentary. It's not really visuals. This video is just a little bit shorter because I didn't post one on Monday. Sorry about that, guys. This one might be posted next Monday. I'll have to make a edit on the post. But this video is just kind of focused on what the guns should be, what guns should be added, and some reasons why. Now, this is the late tier assault rifles we have in Dayz right now. The M4, the AKM, and the LAX. And no, the LAR does not count as a late tier assault rifle, and there's a few reasons for it. Number one, the LAR cannot take a suppressor, a normalized suppressor, either the M4 suppressor, and it cannot take most ammo. It uses relay, and it's actually considered a battle rifle because it was developed by if I'm not mistaken, it's a Belgian rifle, and it was invented as a battle rifle to replace their main assault weapons. But the reason the M4 and the AKM and the AUG are battle rifles because they can take normalized suppressors. That's not saying it's not a light assault rifle. I just prefer it, and on my own standards, I don't consider it an assault rifle. Now, the few weapons I do want added is the G36, the German G36, the Czech Republic 805 Brenna assault rifle, and the FN Scar. And there's separate pages on these, and I'll explain them all right now. Now, real quick before we start, I want to point out some guns that are already in the game. The AK family, the AKM, AK-101, AK-74, VSS, Baby AK, Dragunov, Vega, and VSS. Now, these are all the AK family, and they use most of the upper receiver or the body of an AK, and I'm going to point these out because there's a lot of Russian and Soviet Union influence on the Czech Republic. And that plays a key role into why there's not really a lot of NATO weapons in the higher tier areas. Now, we did see this in the title, and I did show you this on the first slide, but what these are is the weapons I want added. And also, side note, to the point I just put out before, the reason why there's not a lot of NATO weapons in Cherno is because it's mostly a Russian and Soviet Union influenced country. It's influenced by Russia in support of Russia. So there's going to be a lot more Russian weapons up tier. And the reason, and most logical reason, why there's DMRs, M4s, and all the other NATO weapons are from convoys, boats traveling, sending military supplies over, and helicopters. So that kind of makes sense why there's more NATO weapons, and they're making a more change, and the Dayz developers are making a change and putting more NATO weapons into convoys, helicopters, and vessels, and contaminated gas. Now, the first item that should be the first gun would be the LER, and it'll mostly likely probably be on Livonia, because Livonia is a more Polish, and I forgot exactly where it's located. It's near Poland, in that general area, more of a NATO area. And this could also implement a few new, what is the word? Accessories for weapons. So the why am I thinking of LAR? The SCAR should be featuring more of the 20 rounder, 30 rounder, and 40 rounder bags. I don't know why I didn't put the other one on, but not more of the 60 rounder and the 30 rounder because they take a little bit differently, and the SCAR might have its own mag. Now, you might have already noticed it, the underbarrel grenade launcher, and the reason I'm saying the underbarrel grenade launcher is because we only have the M40 grenade launcher, and Dayz's developers, to my knowledge, are trying to put out more and more weapons that use the same caliber, like they're doing with the what's it called, the Vickr. They did with the Vickr, the VS98, and a few others, because the Vickr uses 9x39, which only 2 guns used, and then the Vickr was added. The hell did I drop? Never mind. But the 40mm grenade launcher could either have the SCAR's 40mm grenade launcher or the M4's 40mm grenade launcher that can take all the other 40mm. And it will be I want it to be found at either the gas zone, like the airfield gas zone, or Rodan in Livonia, or helicopters and convoys. And the reason that they should be used from convoys, and I'll put up points for both, convoys would kind of make sense because there's 2 different convoys. There's Russian convoys and American convoys, distinguished by which vehicles are in them. In Russian convoys, there's BMPs and more Russian weapons, like BTR-80s. No, not BTR-80s. I forgot what the name of it is. But in the American convoys, there's more of Humvees and American-influenced weapons. And there will be more points to that later on. And also, you probably can see the foregrip. That should be added for more guns, for more cosmetic, more accessories to show that it's your gun. Even though it's your turn to use it, you can show and express your personality on this gun. And for Rodan, it might be at gas zones for Rodan because military supplies are being shipped in and stuff like that. I'm going to be focusing on two guns in this chapter. This area, the PPSH and the CZ. What the heck is its name? Completely forgot what its name is. Let me look. The CZ. I forgot. It's a what the heck? Czech Republic gun. It uses the same ammo as the PPSH. And this should be spawning at civilian towns or militaries 2 and 3. And now the reason for that is because there might be civilians might have owned these weapons from their grandpas or their aunt or their grandfathers or people or friends that they knew that fought in the war. What the heck was it? World War II, sorry. I can't think of the name. And these might be like badly damaged or damaged. Or you can find them at tier 2, 1, or 3, but I don't think 1 because we're trying to move weapons from 1 to 2. Because we don't want a lot of, because there needs to be more player interaction. And that will be another segment of this little series I'm making. So the PPSH would be used for like, no, you can't really take a suppressor and stuff, but it'd be very good as an SMG role. And then the pistol, another accessory pistol that would also use the same cartridge, so it's just not one gun that uses the cartridge. Same point with the 40mm grenade launcher. That's why the underbarrel grenade launcher would be perfect, because then two different types of weapons could have it. Well, they're not two different types. Two different things can use the same ammo. Now, this point right here might be a little bit controversial to people, but I believe it kind of makes some sense. So this is the RPK, or what Dayz is probably going to call it, the KPR. That actually sounds kind of good. Never mind, besides that. This should be found on all maps. I did forget to mention that with the PPSH. It should be found on all maps besides the pistol and Cherno mostly. And this uses 7.62 by 39. It is compatible with the AKM magazines, which actually makes sense because it uses the AKM magazine and can fit longer barrel. And that would be another reason for the AKM to be, because you find so many AKM mags, but not a lot of AKMs. And it should be able to mount to trucks. And that is a feature I kind of want added, because vehicles can't really protect themselves. Yes, vehicles are good. They're good. You can move around the map, but you can't protect yourself in them. Humvees, they're kind of protected, but you can't add stuff on them. They're not bulletproof in the windows. I got to do some research, and I'll give you some documents about why the Humvee can survive certain bullet calibers. But the truck makes more sense for this because the mount would make sense, because next to the passenger seat, there could be a mounted gun up there. And this is the same for the next gun I'm about to add on this list. So this is done with this gun, and it should be spawning at tier 3, and the reason for that, or tier 4, but I think the other gun that I'm about to mention will be at tier 4, because it makes a little bit more sense. So most of you already know this gun, the PMK, 650 rounds per minute, and the reason for that is what I've looked up, is the barrel can get pretty hot and you have to cool it down. Now this should be able to mount to trucks and Hummers, and there is already a mount, and you can see it right there in the picture, there is already a mount for the Humvee in Dayz. And if you look on the bottom right hand, I know that's a 50 cal, but it would make sense for this gun to be able to mount to this, because the Russians or the Czech, I'm just going to call them the Czechs. I don't know if that's racist, probably is, but will be able to mount this to their vehicles. And this uses 7.62 by 54, which is in the next page. Here's a kind of way how we would have to find it. So first you have to find the ammo. So the ammo would be found at, 7.62 by 54, you find it everywhere. And then if you find it helicopter crashes, you can find the individual belts that you would have to put together manually. So 250 belts, and they would still take up 4 inventory slots. And then you have to reload each belt of ammo, and then find the ammo box, which would also be at convoys and helicopter crashes, to reload the ammo box, which would take a long time, but it would make sense for this type of weapon. And then you have to find the PMK, which, if you know the camo building at Tizzy, the 2 stories, sandboxes around it, you can climb onto it, that should be found up there, sitting up there. Rare, but you can also maybe Tricrested, not 100% sure on Tricrested spawn, but maybe Tizzy, and there's a reason for it. This weapon was developed in, I want to say, the 70s. I gotta fact check that. But it would make sense for it to spawn at either convoys on top of Humvees or at Tizzy military base. And I think this would be an effective weapon to use 7.62 by 54 is because of how powerful it is. And now I know, yes, people could get Humvees and raid bases easier. And I'm going to put in another segment how bases can improvise and stuff like that. Now, you probably already saw this and thought I was crazy, but let me talk about this and I'll let you think if I'm crazy later. This weapon, the RPG, should be added to Daisy, and there's a reason for it. Now, cars and stuff, yes, they cannot defend themselves, but if they do add the option to use guns or inventories in cars, RPGs would be very good if you could armor cars. It's a counter. So you counter stuff. You make something that's good, but then you make something to counter it that's rare. Like the RPG could only spawn at Tizzy military base, and with a new update coming out with the backpacks, you could put RPG ammo on the backpacks to replace, and that would be a reason why it's harder to get because you can only carry a certain amount of rockets. And then you could be able to destroy base walls and cars. Now, the reason I say cars and stuff like this is because with Humvees and stuff, if you could armor them, if I'm not mistaken, I gotta pull up a form on it. Humvees can survive some RPG rounds. And I know this weapon might not actually get added, but it is in the game files, so I believe it was attempted at one time to make it. And that's really all I have for this weapon because I didn't really. This weapon is, you know, it's an explosive. So this is the G36, and there's two variants. The top variant is I kind of like more than the bottom one below it. Now there's a lot of cosmetics for this, and I will explain it for you. I'll explain this. So this weapon should be only found. I keep forgetting to mention that. There is on the titles anyway. This weapon should be at gas zones and it uses 5.56, 750 rounds per minute. But it should also be able to mount the underbarrel grenade launcher that I've already talked about. And the reason for this is because of like you don't have to carry a thumper with you. And this weapon can also hold the foregrip and uses 30 round magazines. And I know this would be a lot to ask for, but I believe it should only be added to Livonia because this is another late tier assault rifle. The main reason I'm making this is for more late tier and more weapons. I know we want more player interactions, but the problem is, and I'm kind of finding, is you're only picking 3 to 4 guns for late tier. Really 2 guns if you're really picky. The M4 and the AKM. Those are really your only 2 high tier end options. There's not really a lot of other rifles that you can really use. So this is the CZ Brent already talked about. Now this is actually a Czech Republic made weapon, and I believe 2008 or 2009. And this weapon should only be found at Tizzy and stuff because it makes sense for it to be added. Grenade, underbarrel grenade launcher, all of the sights that you can see. And I'll make another chapter about that. You can also use 30 round magazines and uses 5.56. And I believe this should only spawn at Tizzy or Drygresta, or the other maps that are high tier, because this would be a battle rifle the Czech Republic would have made for themselves. And then you can move the AKM to a lower tier, but I don't think Dayz devs would do that because that would cause too much destruction. And they're already implementing, in this whole thing should be implemented around 1.30. Wait, 1. I forgot what it was. But this weapon would be actually very nice to have as another assault rifle or a late tier weapon. Now, this is the end of it, but this is one thing I should mention. On the right hand side, this is the Dayz mod of the TMR. The left side is Dayz 1.27 weapon. And the middle should be a hunting scope attached because this weapon is a marksman rifle. It should be able to mount to different types of guns. And that's this. I know this section is kind of short, but this is all I really have for you. I hope you'll like this. I'm sorry if it was a little choppy. Thank you for watching.